Both the quality and size of pyramids reflected the centralized control that each pharaoh of ancient Egypt possessed. The Fourth Dynasty was especially popular for pyramids, and this was a time period when the kings exerted extreme power heavily. The manpower and resources required to build the pyramids, the purpose of which was to serve the king in the afterlife, explicitly showed extreme devotion to the king. After the Fourth Dynasty, the pyramids started becoming smaller and less detailed, emphasizing the change in power depiction. Pyramids in the Fifth and Sixth Dynasties were set to accentuate societal aspects such as religion. Pyramids were built as tombs for the pharaohs and their wives, starting in the Old Kingdom and leading into the Middle Kingdom. These burial places also consisted of objects that ancient Egyptians felt that the king would need in order to succeed in his afterlife. Pyramids were perceived as palaces for the next world and helped represent the eternal Egypt in the afterlife.
Djoser's reign marked the start of the Age of Pyramids. The first pyramid, known as the Step Pyramid, lies in Saqqara and arose under King Djoser in the Third Dynasty. This first example of monumental stone architecture was designed by Imhotep, who was also the prime minister at the time. Kings that followed Djoser then devoted most of their lives to constructing pyramids for themselves. The Fourth Dynasty pyramids expanded on the ideas of the Step Pyramid and kept the centralized government strong.
The Step Pyramid started with three mastabas stacked onto each other. Mastabas were considered simple, long, rectangular tombs that were common funerary burials for kings. The Third Dynasty marked the first time stone was utilized as material for these tomb structures as opposed to brick, which was what most funerary mastabas were previously constructed of. Stone appeared to be a much more durable material, which allowed Imhotep to design a structure that enabled the stacking of even more mastabas. Over time, the structure evolved to acquire an additional three mastabas for a total of 6 mastabas, standing at a height of about 200 feet tall. Each mastaba was smaller than the one below it to give it a step appearance. The pyramid consisted of tunneled storage chambers, rooms, hallways, as well as a burial chamber for Djoser himself. Based off of the architecture of the Step Pyramid, it appears that it was constantly being modified for over a span of 20 years. There seemed to be no original blueprint for it, and as a result, emphasized the creativity and innovation for Imhotep and other builders to really find a way to best honor their king.
This progression from Step Mastaba to Step Pyramid paved the way for Fourth Dynasty pyramids. The Fourth Dynasty marked the time in which true pyramids were built and drastically increased in size. Pyramids, as well as their mortuary complexes, started to become much more elaborate than those in the Third Dynasty, demonstrating that the power of the pharaohs had increased. Pharaohs were able to recruit more individuals to help construct these superstructures.
Snefru was the first pharaoh of the Fourth Dynasty and is known to be the greatest pyramid builder in ancient Egypt. While there is debate for how long Snefru actually reigned for, it is believed to fall in the range of 24 to 48 years. Unlike Djoser, Snefru had 3 different pyramids constructed under his reign: the Maiden Pyramid, the Bent Pyramid, and the Red Pyramid.
Many researchers believe that the Maiden Pyramid was originally started by the last pharaoh of the Third Dynasty, Huni, and Sneferu happened to complete it when he took over in the Fourth Dynasty. The Maiden Pyramid resembled the same step-like structure as Djoser's Step Pyramid, as it had stacked mastabas on top of each other. In between the steps of the pyramid, limestone was utilized. This pyramid had its sides smoothed and filled in to have it appear as a true pyramid instead of a stepped shape. The Maiden Pyramid is considered to be the first true pyramid complex with a subsidiary pyramid, a mortuary temple, a causeway, and a valley temple. The Maiden Pyramid stood taller than Djoser's Step Pyramid, measuring at 213 feet tall. One significant advancement in the Maiden Pyramid that illuminated the power of Sneferu over previous pharaohs is the orientation of the pyramid itself. Sneferu decided to build the pyramid with an east-west orientation as opposed to the north-south orientation that Djoser's pyramid had. Sneferu decided to do this in order to mimic the pathway the sun follows. This setup symbolized his power and importance in that it showed Sneferu was viewed as the same level as the sun god Re. Unfortunately, although the Maiden Pyramid really showed how pyramids started becoming more intricate, it had architectural flaws that caused it to collapse. This collapse is thought to have occurred in the final building stage of the pyramid, when the pyramid was starting to gain its true pyramidal shape. Toward the top of the pyramid, the stones were laid horizontally, which caused the pyramid to cave inward on itself. This collapse caused Sneferu to construct the Bent and Red pyramids.
Sneferu's next pyramid he constructed is known as the Bent Pyramid at Dashur. This is also known as the South Pyramid at Dashur. The bent pyramid is the most noticeable example of the shift from step-structured pyramids to smooth-sided pyramids, which set a precedent for subsequent pyramids. Much larger stone blocks were used to create this monument. As a result, this superstructure stands well over 300 feet high. The Jurassic height increase really emphasizes how much influence Sneferu had on ancient Egyptian civilization. Because the bent pyramid was so much larger than any other pyramid, a lot of resources such as bigger stones and equipment to help move these stones, as well as people, were needed to build such a massive structure. The bent pyramid is one of the only Egyptian pyramids to have most of its limestone casing intact. Due to both the solidity and strength of this pyramid, it is very difficult to dismantle it. As a result, stone robbers had a difficult time destroying the bent pyramid. The bent pyramid takes on a bent appearance because its building angle started out at 54 degrees, then flattened a little to 43 degrees as it reached the top. Snefer felt that the change in building angle was necessary in order to preserve the pyramid and to avoid a collapse like the Maiden Pyramid. The complex of the bent pyramid included a small upper temple, a causeway, and a valley temple. Unlike previous pyramids, the bent pyramid had two entrances which linked together various aspects of the pyramid complex to symbolize a more unified structure.
Sneferu's disappointment in the bent appearance of the bent pyramid led to the third and final pyramid of Sneferu's reign, the Red Pyramid, also known as the North Pyramid of Dashur. The appearance of red in color comes from reddish and pink limestone used to construct the pyramid. The Red Pyramid is about the same height as the bent pyramid, with a little wider of a base due to the building angle starting at 43 degrees. A small funerary temple or chapel resides at the Red Pyramid. This last pyramid by Sneferu is where his body resides. The Red Pyramid highlights Sneferu's power and influence on ancient Egypt, as he was able to recruit over 100,000 slaves to help construct it. Even with this vast amount of individuals, it is believed to take over 17 years to construct this pyramid. The fact that Sneferu was able to build not just one huge and significant monument, but three, elucidates how he was able to centralize the government and strengthen his power as king.
While Snefer definitely built his fair share of amazing monuments, his son, Khufu, is known to have built the most extraordinary pyramid to date. The project of Khufu's pyramid, also known as the Great Pyramid, was led by the architect Hemenu. The Great Pyramid was the tallest pyramid, standing at 480 feet tall as it resides in Giza. Like his father's pyramids, Khufu's pyramid was constructed from limestone, which was quarried near the Nile River. The stones used to build this pyramid were colossal and had to be tirelessly dragged from the Nile to where the pyramid was to be built. This required a great deal of work and caused workers to spend most of their lifetime helping build Khufu's pyramid. This act alone indicates just how dominant Khufu was during his reign. He was able to centralize the government in such a way that required a large amount of individuals to assist in building his pyramid. The Great Pyramid also possessed three different chambers: the lower chamber, which was carved underground into bedrock, the Queen's Chamber, which housed Khufu's sacred statue, and the King's Chamber, that housed Khufu's sarcophagus. The King's Chamber was located in the center of the pyramid, which was higher up than most pharaohs' burial chambers were in their own pyramids. One of the most significant structures that accompanied the Great Pyramid was Khufu's funerary boat, which was intended to help bring his body to the afterlife.
Khafre is the son of Khufu, and his pyramid is also located in Giza. Although it stood at a height shorter than his father's, at 470 feet tall, it appears to be taller. The reason behind this is because Khafre built his pyramid on higher elevation, which makes his pyramid appear to be physically taller than his father's pyramid. By constructing a pyramid that seemed larger than his father's, perhaps Khafre was able to feel a larger sense of power and dominance over the civilization. Inside of Khafre's temple complex, there were over 50 life-size statues of Khafre, indicating his superior sense of worth. In addition to such an elaborate pyramid structure, Khafre had a limestone statue, called the Sphinx, built in front of his pyramid. The Sphinx represents the body of a lion, but a face of a pharaoh, which is believed to be Khafre's face. Such a structure symbolizes the dominance and fierceness of the pharaoh, which is something most 4th dynasty pharaohs strived for. As a result, some may believe that Khafre's pyramid complex is even more elaborate than his father Khufu's and their grandfather Sneferu's.
The fall of the Pyramid era began in the 5th dynasty. Pyramids started becoming significantly smaller as a result of the decentralization of the ancient Egyptian government in the 5th and 6th dynasties. The pharaohs were not able to assemble enough labor in order to build such extravagant superstructures as they did in the 4th dynasty. The pharaohs distributed their power and control to other high officials and nomarchs, which had not been previously done before. Pharaohs in the 5th dynasty started building temples to honor gods such as the sun god Re, as opposed to devoting more time to building pyramids to honor themselves. Thus, the focus of the ancient Egyptian society moved from the kings to different gods and other religious elements. Non-royal tombs inscriptions became more prevalent, which indicates the weakened rule of the king and the strengthened power of other local officials.